potential gains of stock market and real estate and so on. So I had to work for everything. I remember that I wanted blue jeans. And I knew exactly how many hours I would have to work in the garden for my parents to be able to collect the money that I could go and buy myself my first pair of Levi's blue jeans. I think it was called 510 was the model I wanted back there somewhere in the 80s. And then my first BMX bike, I'd have to work an enormous amount of hours before I could afford it. But eventually, when I was about 12, I could buy a new bike, and I didn't have to run on my uncle's old bike. And I worked those hours a lot with joy, but also a lot because I wanted things. I wanted to have the things that other people have. So I was willing to put in whatever it took to do that. Then, as the school years were coming along, I realized that I had dyslexia. Or that means that the teachers, my parents, everyone realized that when I was in about 4th grade. I was a little bit late to discover it because somehow I'd managed to fake my way through in the beginning. Sorry, it wasn't 4th grade, it was 2nd grade. I'd managed to fake my way through in the 1st grade, and I was very stressed with it. And every class that I would take through the years of elementary school and then later on middle school and later on high school was a struggle. Because if the teachers asked me to stand up, they still did this back then, stand up and read out loud from a book. I couldn't do that. I remember in 4th grade specifically when I was taken out of the class and into that special classroom where you have the reading machine. It was a paper that they put through. They've everything digitalized and computerized today. And at the slowest speed at that orange reading machine, I could read perfectly words like I, we. But when it came to and, it was going a little bit too fast on the slowest speed. So I could recognize 2 letters, sometimes 3, climbed up to 4 after a while. Then my dad said that, well, one of the best things that we could do to help you out was that you would come and work for me in the newspaper. He was editor-in-chief at that point, and we'd moved into the middle class, and I could go and work for him. And I was 13 years old, and I was struggling with everything. And I put in hours, and what I got to do was that I got to receive the letters in mail, and then I would type them into the computer. And then after I typed them into the computer, I would sit through my father correcting every mistake that I did. And that can be cruel, but it was needed. And I improved a little bit, and after a while, I could do it with just a few mistakes per paragraph. In sports, I got a lot of ribbons. I didn't get medals. Some of you will catch that one later on. I didn't get in to be first place, second place. I didn't have the talents for those things. And then when we move forward, and this story is not all about me, but when we moved forward and I got into business, it didn't move that fast for me. In fact, in the beginning, I couldn't sponsor anybody. I think I had like 13 people to my first opportunity meeting, and not a single person signed up. And then I continued inviting people for over a year and a half without having anybody coming in to my organization. No one joined. It was a slow start. It took 2 years before I had my first sign-up. And you could say, well, you were probably just one of those hang-arounds. No, I wasn't. I was putting in time every single week. I wasn't going full-time or anything like that. I was still in school, but I was I was spending time. I was trying to build a business. I was really hungry. I believed in the dream. I think that after a long journey, and I don't know how many hours I'd been doing the business before it took off, but I know that after spending probably collectively about 4,000 or 5,000 hours on the business of direct selling, network marketing, my royalty check was $69 per month. Thank you for the few people that share my pain. But I want you to know the story because impact is about discovering your strength. You have impact as soon as you discover your strength. My strength was not talented-based. My strength was effort. It didn't matter what it took. I was willing to go and do the work. And as I grew older, I started at a very young age. Started at 17. As I grew older, I was able to learn and implement a little bit faster. I was eventually able to get some traction. Now, I probably should add to this, it wasn't in my notes, but I should add to it that in my early 20s then, the business started to grow, and by the time I hit 25 years old, I was way over 10,000 hours of doing short presentation follow-ups. I didn't have 10,000 hours of stage speaking yet, but I had 10,000 hours in every single discipline inside of the profession of direct selling. I'd been reading, I'd been listening, I'd been traveling. I remember at 22, I think I was, maybe I was 23, Jens, you maybe remember better. I had a gold card, my gold card for the credit was also maxed out, but it wasn't that gold card talking about. I'm talking about a gold card with the airline companies, and then I had a gold card with the second airline company, and I was only buying student tickets. And it took 366 in total per gold card. I did 300 flights and more every single year. So I probably haven't flown for, well, maybe I have flown for 10,000 hours. I don't know. I haven't counted. But I did everything necessary. I went all in. And then eventually, the success gets you. You think that you've got everything. You think that now I'm on the top of the world. But then as that success gets a little bit too big, maybe you haven't done enough growing. I didn't do enough growing on my inside, so there needed to be a correction, and we had some mishappenings. Jan knows about mishappenings in business. Sven knows about mishappenings in business. My friend Jens was running together with me, holding hands, just thinking that we were hitting a mountaintop, but it was a cliff. Hakan knows about mishappenings in business. His friend Tolga has held his hand going up the cliff many times. So I think that the unique thing about the people at the leadership tables, I shouldn't start talking about Ria. I'm laughing, not because I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because the stories are too good to be told. But they share one common thing, and that is that things went wrong, but they refused to quit. Things weren't easy, but they got back up. Things weren't the way it was supposed to be, but they decided to continue. But I remember a time where I came to that point where I said, I can't do that. I can't continue to grow and change like that. It's so painful. If I change more now, then I'm not me. Then I'm not the person that I used to be. Then it's too painful. And I was about to stop the journey somewhere in my beginning of my 30s. I might have been 34, 33. And I was starting to lose my hunger. My dreams was fading. It was hard to believe that it would be great again. It was hard to believe that I could go out there and make it happen again because so many things had come against me. And there might be people here tonight that have that feeling that you've fought hard, that you've put in your hours, you went all in, you decided to go all the way in the back maybe, you decided to go, and then you're here and you're wondering, am I going to go full out for Vision 25, or am I going to just try to make it by? You've put in everything, and you lost. And I know that feeling, and it's painful. It's tough. When we say, I can't do that, it means that we've built up a resistance to change. You know, Cincinnati has a beautiful slogan, inspire change in life. Many times I've shared stories of people that have come up to me and say, I don't want you to change that. You promised me that it would be like this forever. And truly, I never did promise that. I promised inspire change in life. Because they become resistant to changing. They want other people to change. They want their team to run while they are taking it a little bit more calm. They want their friends to join, but they're not ready to go all in. They don't want to fight through the night. They're not ready to be up until 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. If you say things like, I can't sponsor 10 people a year. No, and I'm actually going to address the front, those people that have made it through, but even here on the top front, and the director is behind and the diamond's just behind there. There is people that build up the resistance. You were making progress in the beginning, but then you become resistant. And you don't want to change because you're feeling you're losing yourself. And yes, you are, but it's for the good. It's because you're going to be a better person after you change. You're going to be a stronger person after you change. But they say, I sponsored my first 10, I've sponsored 30, I sponsored 40, and then they don't want to go and sponsor 10 more because it's tough. When we have a competition of sponsoring 10 people in a year, it's a lot tougher for the people in front that have gone through 100, 200, 300 names than a person that is brand new that is just going to go over and have a coffee with their best friend. I realize that, but it's at that point, it's when we do not want new ideas. It means that we don't want to change. And it's at that point you need that growing more than ever before. I'm very proud of I'm very proud of everyone in the room, but I've got a few people like Ib. Are you here, Ib? Okay, you got to shout a little bit higher. Ib, stand up. Let everyone see you. I mean, Hilda mentioned him in her story today as well. We didn't compare notes, so it happens to be 2 times. But what a journey we have been on. There is many moments that we could go into. We could go into the early days in Denmark. I remember one meeting when you were there Kim was there, Peter was there. I think we had 3 more people. No, we had a few more people, and then Kim was coming with 3 more people, and we were holding back our event. We had a beautiful hotel location, and were we 8, were we 10 in that room? 15 we were in that room. And we put on a full show for a full day, and I believe that was in our 2nd year. And it was probably close to executive. Could that be about right? But he decided to keep on going. And I think one of the biggest victory stories is when 52 levels in depth of Ib doing the meetings, Ib chasing the contacts, he finds Christopher and Ria, and it changes everything. Thank you. We just had Elena Carblom on stage as MC. Didn't they do an amazing job? Like, just outstanding. I remember a call from her where he said, well, I bring people in, but then they keep quitting on me. And I'm frustrated, and I can't get ahead, and I can't make it happen. And then I said, Elena, you got to build on your strength. You're a top recruiter. Those other skills will come. Yes, work on the skills, on getting the people going. Work on those skills, but just keep on bringing people in, because as you work your skill, your strength, I wish I was a top recruiter. Wow, life would have been easy. That was going on in my head. But in her head, that was the challenge. But I said, build on your strength. Take another shot. And look at her today. I know Carla has been doing some interviews in the back. We love you dearly, Carla. You're just an amazing person. But Angie, I think that was like between her very first people in the US. She just became a royal crown in September. She's not here. She's probably watching online. The fight for every single rank, for everything, being a mother of 4 now today, a few less when we started, having a full-time job along the journey, having financial struggles along the journey, and having struggles in every area you can imagine. But then deciding between every time she wanted to quit, Carla would get Peter on the line, or she would get me on the line, or she would get somebody else on the line, and we would talk with her, and most of the times it was Carla alone on the line with Angie, building her up again so that she could fight for another day, so that she could take another shot. And it was such a pleasure to call you, Angie. It's like one of the most joyful calls I've had in my entire career, because on Sunday, I think she became it on Saturday, she became a royal crown. I called her on the Sunday, and her voice was just filled with happiness and joy, and she had done it way before deadline. And she ended with 112 or 13,000 credits. That's a closing. If you're at 80 Saturday night and you end Monday with 110, that's creating new diamonds, new directors, because they took another shot. Each time they wanted to give up, they took another shot. The past is the enemy of your future. I see it in people's eyes when they're about to break through. When people look to their past, to the things that they've been through, the fire in one's eyes goes down. Whenever people are in a stressful situation, whenever people are challenged in some way, they have lower fire in their eyes. They don't shine as much. They're distressed. Their body language tightens up. But then, when they sometimes come to an event, and I hope that, like Hilda said today and this weekend is about receiving the impact, so that you get enough belief in yourself from all the people that are here together with you, so that you stand up and maybe by Sunday, I don't know if you can do it tonight, by Sunday, you elect you to be the next superstar, to move from a chair in the back to all the way up to the front. And maybe you jump up on your chair and say, I am going to do it because I received the impact. And then the second part is that you become living the impact, because receiving it this weekend, that will do a lot. I needed to receive impact many times, but it's when you start living it on Monday, Tuesday, through the week, through the month, through November, and you claim your new rank. That is when you're getting ready to become the impact. And next year, I hope for everyone in this room that you're going to grab this week and you'll understand Vision 25 for Cincinnati, that we're going to go from 28,500 active people to 60,000 active. And that we're going to double our customer base from 500,000 to 1 million. In 15 months, it will be ecstatic when you come back next year. It will be more white tables than chairs, because we could probably only fit people on white tables if we did that. That's a little bit of exaggeration, but please let me be allowed to dream. So maybe that's not next year, but in 2050, with 100 million customers, we will have white tables all throughout this arena, and we could not fit the crowns. We could put them out in the hallway, and we could not fit the crowns. We could put them upstairs, and we could not fit the crowns. That's where we're going. And those that manage to take their head and say, no, I'm not going to be stuck in the past. I'm going to turn around by force. I'm going to turn myself into the future. Those that see their dream, those that see their vision, those that plays with a ball like Holland did, those that plays with trying to recruit like I did, those that think that, well, I'm going to just get better, and when I get better, I'm going to get closer. When I get better, I'm going to get closer. I believe more in that dream. I believe more in that I'm going to succeed than in the mysteries of the past. Then fire comes into the eyes, and I can spot that fire, and I'm very seldomly wrong when I see that fire. I know that that person is going to break through because they've got diamond eyes. To become better, there is only one path, and that's change. That's why we inspire change in life. For the health, there is only one path, and that's change for the better. And now we've got the collagen. We'll all be looking 10 years younger next year. Yay! Just take the next shot. Just call the next call. Take the next 100 shots. Take the next 200 shots. Make the calls. Write the list. Meet the people. Take the shot. Because at one point, you'll have one. Then a little bit later, you will have two. And then the two will be running, and then you're a diamond. Then a little bit later, you'll have three. Then a little bit later, you'll have four. And then four will be running, and you're a crown. Take the shot. Even if it was 1,000, take the shot. Elon Musk, which is probably the most famous entrepreneur on the planet Earth today, he has a brilliant quote about this. He says it's like this: you should not give up before you're forced to give up. So if no one legally stops you, You should not give up on your dream. You should not stop it. You should take the shot, and then another shot, until you succeed, because no one will force you to stop. 10 years ago, me and Hilda was walking. I was holding her hand. And we had a beautiful evening walk, and we would walk for an evening walk every night for about an hour, and we would be talking. We'd be talking about mostly the people in Cincinnati, and back then we could talk about every single one of you. Not quite true, but everyone, like we knew so much about everyone back then. It was sort of a nice time, but sort of also a time where we were happy, but we were hungry, say it that way. But I should probably say a lot more, but I'm minus 29 seconds. Does that mean anything? Do they have a reset button on that timer? Hilda is I love you dearly, Hilda. Without you, I wouldn't have been where I am, because you were the one that spoke into me when I wanted to give up. But this night, we were talking about one of the biggest joys in our life, and it was little Gabriel, and Hilda was highly pregnant. And we were walking around, and we were imagining good things for our kids, and we were thinking about this speech that we would train Gabriel to do. Much harder in reality than in fantasy. And we would imagine the little boy being 2 years old and barely being able to speak, and we would announce him to stage, and the little boy would be coming over to the stairs, and he would be walking up the stairs, and walking over all the way up until the front, and a little bit shy, maybe holding daddy's or mommy's hand, and then he would stand here in front of everyone. Button up his suit. 2-year-old wouldn't do that. Silly fantasies. And then he would say, what do you need to become successful in Cincinnati? He'd take a pause. And he would watch everyone. And then he'd say, number 1, you got to be hungry. And then he would listen out to applaud. And then he would say, number 2, you have to work really hard. Hunger is the key to change. Working hard is the key to implement the change. As I said, at my darkest moments, Hilda's always been there, and she's been a person with faith in me, with faith in what we're going to do. And she's been a person that have been able to speak into my life when I wasn't able to speak to myself. And one time she took me and said, Ørjan, stop saying what you're saying right now. Let me remind you about your dreams. Let me remind you about the journey that we're on. And she started speaking to me. And it lit a fire again. And this was back when I was mid-30s. Lit a fire again. I became willing to work so hard on myself that I knew that in just a few years from now, I will not be able to recognize the person that I've been, because I got better. And as I got better, people around me liked me better. So that change of you becoming the diamond, of you becoming the crown, of you becoming the Black Crown, of you going to president. That is a beautiful journey of somebody with an enormous talent that is held back, that hasn't been let free, but through that change, the things that are holding you back, the chains that is locking you down will be let go, and you will be beautiful. It didn't happen immediately, but I decided to get back onto a path where I had huge success in my mid-20s. And then in my mid-30s, I decided to take more shots, more trials. I would recruit more than I've ever done before. And as we got to more success, I decided I'm going to take even more shots now. And as we got to even more success, I decided that we will up the level again. To build a team, you first need to be a good player yourself. And then as you get better and your team gets better, it gets easier to get better people. So today I'm here to ask you, I want you to get ready. Because if you're all ready, I want you to show it. I want you to shout it out. I want you to stand up, I want you to shout out, and I want you to do whatever is necessary to express it with passion. Are you hungry? Could we do a... Are you hungry? Are you ready to work really hard? Vision 25 is about taking you, and that will take Cincino to a whole. One more time, to a whole nother level. Thank you.
This is how legends are made.